Welcome to this review of the paintings I completed in 2018. I think it was a similar amount to what I did in 2017, although I was hoping for more, but never mind, there's always 2019. It would be much appreciated if you could like and subscribe, it really does help, and thank you for all those that already have. I started the year with a bit of an unusual project, and that's painting this version of Pennywise onto a skateboard. I used oils, as this was never going to be actually used as a skateboard again because it wouldn't have stayed there, it would have scraped off immediately. But I was quite pleased with the results of this. And now the first postcard size picture, this time in watercolour. As you can see, it's of a rustic window, and I quite liked how it turned out. I think I might have wanted a bit more detail, but that's not always best. And now back to the oils, which are my favourite. This time it's painting of the River Wey, somewhere I walk along quite a lot. I wasn't totally happy about the direction of the sun in this one. It's a bit too over your shoulder, which makes it a little tricky to see which direction the sun's coming from. Plus I think this painting lacks a focal point. Where the river's going is a little bit of a focal point, but maybe I should have put a swan in there or something, and probably a little bit of cloud as well. Totally clear sky, which how it was on the day doesn't quite work for it. This is the first snow scene I've ever done. The photograph came from a friend. I saw it, I thought, oh yes, that'd make a fantastic painting. And it was an interesting challenge. As I say, never done snow before, but I think it looks like snow, so it sort of works. Right, second postcard of the year. I found this photograph in a free library, and I just love these terraces. I'm not sure what they're growing, possibly rice, but I just love the look of this, so I thought I'll give it a go. And I hadn't done gouache for a while. Straight into another postcard sized picture, but this time it's an oil sketch, something I've never done before. As you can see from the other pictures, I tend to go for fine detail, lengthy paintings, but this one I wanted to just slap it on really quickly with the potential it will turn into a full-size painting at some point. I had intended to do lots of these, but I've never got around to it. I've never been much of a sketcher, but 2019, I think I'll give it another go. After a couple of quick postcard sized paintings, I thought it's about time I did a major one, and this time it's of Farncombe Boathouse. And the thing that attracted me most to this scene was the crane on the boathouse. I thought that'd make a nice interesting detail. This probably took over 20 hours to paint, and I was actually very pleased with the results. I hadn't done a still life for a long time, and I bought this pewter jug in Hastings several years ago and finally got around to making it into a painting. It was quite a challenge. I had lots of goes at that pewter, and I think I managed to get the look and feel of it, but never did quite get the juiciness of a cut lime, and the green of the limes is a little off, so near miss I think. Now we have a favourite event of mine, and that's Jack in the Green Hastings. These three ladies are in a group called Rattlebag, and there's actually more than three. There was one other in this procession, but she was away to the right and with an extra person in the way. So I thought just these three made a really nice little composition. The background has totally changed because in a public procession it was just crowds everywhere. I really liked the way the ladies came out. I was especially pleased with the faces, but it does make a poor thumbnail as there's very little contrast, so I like it. Some other people like it, some people don't, so there you go. Now we have a bit of an experiment. The background to this is a liquid pour. I've been watching lots of videos of people doing this and I fancied to go myself. One of the things you try and get with the liquid pour is these cells. They call them cells because they're sort of the layers of colours kind of burst through like a little bubble and then get frozen in time. This never happened on this painting, but I still quite liked it and it reminded me of a nebula. So I decided to get a NASA photograph, which fortunately is in the public domain so anyone can copy it, and stick it over the front and turn it into a space scene. Right, back to the postcards, and I did this with an acrylic underpainting and all the details in coloured pencil, which is starting to be a technique I'm really enjoying. I will definitely do and have done more of these. I hadn't done a pure watercolour in a while, and especially one that was going to be fast and loose, as I'm usually all about the detail. But I gave it a go. I know some people who really like it. I'm not that keen myself. I just can't get my head around this sort of loose style. So to cure myself of going too loose, I decided to go the other way and go for some extreme detail. I know everyone in painting world tells you loosen up, loosen up, loosen up, but no, I just love the detail. And in this one, there's the thousands and thousands of blades of grass. Took ages, but was extremely satisfying to do. And I think so far, this is my favourite painting I've ever done. Now it's experimentation time. I got hold of this paper called Yupo paper, and it's actually a very thin sheet of plastic. Very strange stuff. I thought the paint's never going to stick to this sort of shiny surface, it'll just bubble up. But it didn't. It did absorb in there, so I don't know how it works. It was easily damaged, i.e. the paint was easily scraped off, which I decided to take advantage for, and most of this kingfisher is paint that has been scraped off with a scalpel. Now we have my second attempt at a liquid pour. It went pretty much the same as the Spaceman liquid pour and no cells appearing, but I'm starting to realise I had the paint far too thick and that's why they didn't form. But at the end of it, it looked like water to me, so I decided to paint the koi carp over the top of it. And I must admit, I put them in the wrong place. The intention was for them to be central, but I wasn't paying attention and they ended up far too far to the top. Never mind, don't think anyone else noticed. Now I'm back to my favourite subject, rivers and landscapes, but this time it's actually a competition. I belong to the Michael James Smith school, which is teaching me how to do these landscapes, and they had a competition where Michael gave the photograph and everyone had to produce a painting from it. I managed to miss the deadline for the competition as I had far too much else to do, and I did this painting, or finished it, about a month after the close of the competition, so it didn't get entered, but I ended up with a nice painting, so I don't mind. Here I'm trying out a new product, well, new to me, and that's ampersand clayboard. This is a super smooth surface that has a high china clay content, and I must say I loved it. You can scratch this surface many times and it still stays smooth and you can still paint over the top of it. So with this polar bear, I airbrushed the colour over the top and then scratched the details out, a bit like the kingfisher, but this is a much tougher surface and I think I prefer it. Late in the summer I visited Dartmoor. It's a place in the south west of England, Cornwall, and I actually love it there. This place here, well, the painting, is Two Bridges, which is quite close to the edge of Dartmoor, so there's still lots of trees because the centre part of Dartmoor is very barren, which is also beautiful. But here I had a time limit on this painting. I had 1 week, largely due to the fact I stupidly agreed that this was going to go into an exhibition and I hadn't even started it. So it's quite a major picture for me. One normally takes 2 to 3 weeks, even a month. But I crammed it in, did it in 1 week, and I don't think it suffered for that. So maybe in 2019 I can get more paintings done if I really put my mind to it. I was very happy with the results of this. I hope you are too. And the final painting, if you could call it that, I ended the year the same way as I started, painting on an unusual surface. And here it's like a pair of shoes for a very good friend. And it had some unique challenges. I'd never painted on leather before, but it seems to work, and I'm hoping the end result will be tough enough to actually wear and won't all chip off and fall off. Fingers crossed. Well, that wraps up 2018. I'm looking forward to 2019 with lots more paintings, and thank you for all those who've been watching, subscribing, liking and commenting. Hope more of you will next year.